I don't have to consult you about Stormfront or anything else.
So I told you my top 10 worst characters from The Boys. So it's only right that I tell you my top 10 best characters. Emphasis on my. This is who I like. Argue with your mom. So no need to waste time. We know why we here. Roll the theme song, Aaron.
Black independent, strongest in women. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay now. I know that I'm worth it, so make sure to listen. It's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay, it's Olay.
Number 10 is Frenchie. Number 10 on this list just made it by the skin of his teeth. He was originally going to be the 10th on my worst characters list, and Huey was going to be the 10th on this best characters list. But after some serious debate when my friend Nigel insisted Huey needed to be on the worst list, I swapped them, making Frenchie our 10th best character on The Boys. Now here is the thing about Frenchie. He's a good guy. Frenchie has a very kind heart that is undeniable, and it's really illustrated through his relationship with Kimiko and how he humanized and protected her from the moment they met, when all the other guys saw was a silent monster. Frenchie definitely cares about the people around him. My problem with Frenchie is that one, his head is never in the game. Frenchie always drops the ball. He's low-key the good guys, the deep, in terms of his ability to up. And two, just about all his storylines are an absolute and utter waste of time. 9 out of 10 times, if you completely remove the storylines both he and Kimiko have, mostly him. Absolutely nothing would change in the rest of the season, especially in the 4th season. They waste our time with this long, pointless arc about Frenchie dating some we don't know from nowhere that we're supposed to believe Frenchie's suddenly super in love with. But the problem is the guy doesn't know that Frenchie killed the guy's family back in the day at the command of the mafia boss he worked for. So Frenchie's just super tormented about this till he finally tells the guy. Then the guy promptly beat his ass, and he's just so in love with this guy that he feels so bad that he has to confess to the police and go to prison, only to immediately get out the minute the boys need him for another mission on like the next episode. Literally pointless, no stakes. And then Kimiko finally tells him she loves him too, and he and Kimiko get together. So literally nothing about that guy or killing his family or Frenchie's tortured guilt or any of that shit ever mattered or ever matters again. Confirming that Frenchie's entire season 4 storyline was an absolute waste of screen time. So yeah, I like Frenchie, but he be doing a bunch of fuck. So last place for him. Number 9 is Ryan. That poor little boy ain't had a chance, dog. Homelander raped Butcher's wife, Becca, and Becca gets pregnant with Homelander's child, and that child is Ryan. Becca obviously knew Homelander was an evil monster, and although Butcher was her husband and she loved him, she also thought Butcher was a up person who would ruin a child. So instead of going to Butcher after she finds out she's pregnant, she goes to Vought, and they agree not to tell Homelander about the pregnancy and to hide her and Ryan away so she could raise him without the influence of a homicidal maniac white supremacist supervillain. But eventually, both Homelander and Butcher find out about her and Ryan, and they find them, which immediately destroyed her and Ryan's life. Homelander kidnaps Ryan, Becca goes to Butcher for help rescuing Ryan, only for Butcher to go behind her back to Vought to get them to take Ryan so that he could only take Becca because he doesn't give a about her child, because he's a soup freak. And Butcher undermining the plan is what allowed Homelander and Stormfront to get the drop on them, causing Ryan to accidentally kill his mom while trying to save her from Stormfront, who was absolutely 1000% about to kill her. But Ryan did pack Stormfront racist ass up though, so thank God for that. Unfortunately though, that poor baby went from living a nice happy life with his loving mom to bearing the weight of not just losing her, but feeling responsible for it, and then being left in the care of some old CIA bitch he doesn't know from nowhere, till he ends up spending the rest of the series caught between a up de facto custody battle between wicked ass Homelander and wicked ass Butcher, both of whom are terrible influences on him. But if we keep it real, Homelander is more caring towards Ryan most of the time. The problem is his version of caring for Ryan comes wrapped up with all this kind of homicidal white supremacist, you should kill humans because they're toys advice. But in fairness to Homelander, I hate to be the one shooting him some bail. Yes, he dehumanizes humans and insists that Ryan dehumanizes humans. It's because humans dehumanize them. They think of them as monsters and weapons, and that's exactly what Homelander's entire upbringing was literally being caged and experimented on and trained to be a weapon that they could control. And that's exactly how Butcher and the CIA and Mallory and all of them intend to use Ryan. So it's not like there isn't truth to what Homelander be saying. There's some up consequences, but I get where he's be coming from. Anyway, Ryan be trying his best to love both Butcher and Homelander. And what does it get him? Butcher snapping at him, telling him he's responsible for killing his mother, asking him to kill his father, and Homelander telling him to hurt people and become a fake wicked propaganda machine. Who a iron dog? Whatever he becomes, just know it wasn't his fault. He tried his best. Number 8. Ashley. Now look, I know my bitch is a freaky frog. And yes, trying to survive working at Vought, like literally trying to survive with her life because the slightest step would get her killed by Homelander. My girl turns into a problematic monster a little bit who treats people like shit often. But she is hilarious. Absolutely one of my favorite characters. Ashley give me jokes every time she on the screen. Dog, the sheer visual of Ashley running around Vought trying to avoid getting murked when Homelander put the hit out on her was hilarious. And if we keep it a buck, she's one of the most well-developed characters because you truly feel Ashley transform as a character as a result of all the shit Vought put her through in her journey from underling to CEO at the mercy of Homelander. By the time season 4 comes around and Ashley don't got no hair left under her wig because the stress done made her pull it out and she's losing her shit panicking whenever she's in her office alone because she got a job where niggas get murked around on a regular basis, you get it. You just get it. So I don't care that my gal is a freaky frog who turned into a dominatrix whenever no one's looking. It makes sense. Honestly, my girl lives in so much fear in her daily life. It makes sense she'd want to feel powerful somewhere. And before Homelander deafened that blind man in front of her and murked many and made her take off her wig in front of anybody, my girl had been trying to be a better and more progressive CEO who took the company in a different direction, but Homelander wasn't having that shit. And let me tell you something, I would not be trying to get no progressive shit off either if a blazing me to death if I did. So I ain't mad at how that gal becomes in order to survive. I'm sorry. Y'all just can't make me hate sis. The comedy is unmatched. The show needs her and they know it. That's why my girl is still alive and Madeline ain't make it. Number 7, Kimiko. Kimiko was a real ass period, point blank. I really don't have any critiques for Kimiko as a character. She was one of my favorites the moment we met her. Let me tell y'all something right now. In general, the acting in The Boys is top tier. Really be acting down. In particular, old boy who plays Homelander and old girl who plays Kimiko. She be acting her ass off. You know what kind of acting you gotta be doing for you to have zero dialogue, but we understand everything she's feeling, struggling with, growing from, all that. Kimiko and her brother's parents were killed when they were kids, and they were kidnapped and forced to be child soldiers in the Shining Light Liberation Army, before ultimately being injected with Compound V against her will, turned into a killing machine, transported to America, where she was kept in a cage until the boys came across her, and bleeding heart Frenchie immediately connected to her, felt for her, and freed her. From there, my girl becomes a part of the gang, and we watch her try to find her humanity, deal with her own trauma, find and lose her brother all over again, and save everybody's life a million times. She and Frenchie are a duo, and Frenchie's storylines are just about always irrelevant to the larger storyline, so as a result, Kimiko's storylines sometimes are as well, but she's still my bitch, no complaints. Coming in at number 6, shout out to one of my favorite fictional white ladies, Annie Starlight January. Clap it up for my bitch, clap it up. My bitch Starlight just be trying her mother best, and everybody around her be making it hard. Starlight is the quintessential white woman who was raised by conservative racist Christian propaganda that grows up, goes into the world and realizes, oh shit, that was conservative racist Christian propaganda. What I was told about the world, about power, is all wrong. And then was taught to worship. The 7, otherwise known as the super police, are actually deeply a part of the problem. So she tries her best to course correct, to resist, and to fight back however she can. Starlight's mom gave her Compound V as a baby without her knowledge, then raised her with the sole goal of becoming a member of the 7 and to stop crime and save people, only for her to get on the 7, get S8 on her first day by the Deep, and quickly find out that not only is everything a lie, they don't save people, stop crime, protect, and serve, none of that, but they actually up and do OD propaganda, photo shoots, ads, and movies all designed to paint them as heroes, while Vought makes billions of dollars and Homelander murder people with impunity and threaten Starlight's life every single day. So naturally, this shit shook Starlight's entire foundation, turned her worldview literally upside down. But as she wrestles with the trauma of being essayed by the Deep and her newfound realizations about Vought, the 7 superheroes, and all the conservative Christianity nonsense her mom had her around all the time, Starlight be trying any and every way to fight back and challenge the bullshit the 7 and Homelander do, no matter how obviously dangerous and shitty it is for her to do it. My girl eventually leaves the 7 all together and spends her time full-time trying to stop Homelander and Vought. Starlight's a real ass bitch. We gotta give it to my good sis. And she's too good for Huey. While I do love Huey still, he is my boy. And I was initially rooting for them to get together in spite of the fact that Huey had some nerve to be moving on 2 seconds after Robin died. By the time they're actually a couple and Huey starts being an insecure, jealous, dismissive be lying to her and doing like taking temporary compound V's so he could have some temporary superpowers so he could feel less inferior to his superhero girlfriend, who he not only knew was a superhero when he met her, but assured her that he didn't have a problem with it. Listen, by then, I wanted my girl to go free herself. But hey, if she like it, I love it, okay? And that brings us to number 5, my Marvin, aka MM. But I don't be calling him that nonsense because there ain't no reason for them to be calling that grown ass, fine ass black man mother's milk. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. I love Marvin, okay? I really don't have a negative thing to say about him. He is one of my favorite characters. He has every reason to hate the Supes and to want to stop them. Soldier Boy literally killed his father and his grandfather. Yet, unlike Butcher, he doesn't allow that to make him genocidal, nor does he allow it to cause him to have a blind, unadulterated hatred for Supes that prevents him from seeing their humanity. All Marvin wants to do is avenge his father and grandfather, to protect and love his daughter and his daughter's mother, while also keeping the boys safe. He cares about people, he cares about what kind of man and father he is, and he still don't around. Overall, we love Marvin. 10 out of 10, no notes. Number 4 is Queen Maeve. Hey, look, Maeve is a real ass bitch, period, point blank. My girl tries to protect her loved ones to the point of isolating herself from the woman she loves so that Homelander doesn't murk her. She protects Starlight and the boys on countless occasions. She tries to plead with Homelander not to do shit like letting an entire plane full of people die. She's one of the strongest Supes in the show and my bitch got hands, okay? And she ultimately loses her powers fighting Soldier Boy to keep everyone safe, then fakes her death so she could finally go live a normal life in peace with her girlfriend away from all the bullshit. We love Maeve. 10 out of 10. Number 3 is my mother. Boy, Stan Edgar. Let me tell y'all right now. I knew the minute Giancarlo Esposito walked in that I was gonna be a Stan Edgar stan because I ain't never seen Giancarlo Esposito play a role I didn't like. That's a bad motherfucker, okay? And he did not around, not one time he was on my screen. My man was checking the out of Homelander and we love to see it. I really don't feel like I gotta explain why he finds himself this high on the list. Just listen to my read this filth and you'll get it.
I don't think I see the point, Stan.
The point is that you are under a misconception that we are a superhero company. We are not. What we are, really, is a pharmaceutical company. And you are not our most valuable asset. While you're preening at the Golden Globes, we're busy running around like maniacs trying to clean up the mess you made. I don't have to consult you about Stormfront or anything else. The company is yours. No one left to stand up to you. But I think you'll come to sorely regret that.
And why is that?
Because there's no one left to cover for you either. Eventually, probably soon, the world will recognize you for the pitiful disappointment you are. You are not worthy of my respect. You are not a god. You are simply bad product.
And while I am prepared to let Stan Edgar get off scot-free for the crime of running a billion-dollar racist superhero company that brutalizes and murders people while reinforcing and funding the prison industrial complex, I can't give him a pass on hiring Stormfront, a literal super Nazi. Like, nah, Stan, there gotta be a limit, son. There gotta be a limit. But even his response to that ain't down. I'm sorry. He ate it. Look.
Maybe you should take a look in the mirror, mate, because that bitch should bother you.
Of course she does. But it's not about me. I can't lash out like some raging entitled maniac. That's a white man's luxury.
And number 2 is my bitch, Victoria Newman. Yes, I said it, yes. That's my bitch, and y'all cannot make me hate her. Argue with your ma. Newman is a true boss bitch, okay? She is the girl boss y'all girl boss desiring hoe has been waiting on, and y'all have the nerve to forsake her because Butcher and them told y'all to? Stop y'all shit here. Newman is originally introduced to us as an antagonist to the Seven, most known for speaking out against the Supes and their abuse of power. However, the big reveal is that Newman is secretly a Supe, specifically one they've been calling the head popper, who'd been killing all season. And Huey feels incredibly betrayed when he learns she's the head popper, because her hiding her identity made him feel like she's actually the enemy plotting against them. Because why else would she be hiding, right? But the truth is just so much more nuanced than that. First of all, let me start by saying the problem a lot of people have analyzing these characters is they think one side is good and the other side is bad. And that's not the case. There's complexity on both sides and all the people on each side. Both the Seven and the boys are all agents of the state who brutalize people, break the law, and overlook moral issues for their own purposes. The Seven and all the Supes are glorified super police who literally have government contracts and licenses in different cities to police and do whatever the they want, which often translates to wanton violence. The boys are literally a band of criminals who work at the behest of the CIA. Like Butcher, been agents of imperialism, killing niggas at war. Mallory admit to putting crack in black neighborhoods, and Frenchie done killed all kind of innocent people. Let's not get too high and mighty about the boys, okay? This idea that if Newman wasn't all in with the boys or serving her own agenda or playing both sides or navigating around the Seven, she's evil, or it made sense for the boys to suddenly hyper-fixate their energies more on killing her than Homelander is some actual bullshit. I'm so sorry. Newman was a Supe child locked up in one of them up Supe foster home type prisons they had until Stan Edgar, the realest ever do it, adopted her, gave her a good life, and helped her get ahead as a normal person and hide her abilities. Because although Stan Edgar was the head of Vought, my man's has been on record a million times saying how much he hates that superhero shit, that Vought made a mistake getting into the superhero business, that they should be a pharmaceutical company, and that he wants out of the superhero mess. So it makes sense that he raised Victoria not just with the same skepticism and problem with the Supe's unchecked power that he had, but an up-close look at why it's a problem. The only difference is she herself is actually a Supe, so of course it's gonna come with some internal shame, right? So I think her desire to be a regular person, or at least live regularly, while using her political power to help curtail the Supes how she can, while also not hurting her father or his company substantially, or going so far as to set Homelander off and loose on the public, made sense. To me, it's not really that Newman is this kind of traitor, it's that she's an incrementalist. Your girl is a standard classical Democrat, okay? My girl is a liberal. She ain't trying to totally overhaul the system or eradicate all the Supes or Vought altogether. She wants some checks and balances, but she's not trying to topple the whole thing. She wants to let you arrest Supes who commit petty crime, but not the big head honchos for real. She wants to do just enough to keep some kind of order, which it's fair to have a problem with. But once Huey and the boys realize that Newman's a Supe, they stop seeing her as a human, and thus they make her out to be this mysterious villain they don't understand, rather than a bitch whose agenda is very clear. She may be a superhero, but she's still just an orphan who has trauma around that, who struggles with feeling like other as a result of those powers, and her background as an orphan with powers. She's ambitious and wants to be successful in her political career. She shares many of the same sentiments as the boys, but she also feels like she lucked up with a situation with Edgar, who is basically a father that she loves. So just like he disapproves fundamentally with much of what Vought and the Supes do, but he's about the job and the money and the power, so he continues being a cog in that machine, speaking up here and there within the system but never dismantling it. So too does Newman do the same, with the added burden of trying to protect the interests of the man who she feels like saved her. My girl Newman be doing what she needs to do while being stuck between a rock and a hard place, which is why even when Homelander forced her to have to get her own beloved adopted father Stan Edgar locked up in order to protect her daughter, even Stan understood.
If there's one thing I taught her, it was to play all sides. She's more like me than I ever imagined.
And my girl eventually did make that right and break him out of jail. Newman makes perfect sense to me. And at no point was she even plotting against Huey and starlighting them for real. She was literally just keeping her business to herself, trying to work both sides to support her own interests that she thought reaped benefits for everyone. Because let me remind y'all, the best life was ever going was when Huey was working with Newman and the boys were taking her orders from him. I want to remind y'all that while Newman might be on her own side, she ain't ever undermined them or put them in the kind of harm's way to the extent that their beloved ass Butcher regularly does. Life was better under Newman. Shit only got up when Huey discovered she was the head popper and decided she needed to die, and they needed to spend their time conspiring against her. Even after she done proved a million times she wasn't trying to hurt them. Huey literally threw acid in her face and Butcher shot her in the head, and she didn't pack these up immediately when she could have. It's wild how many times a woman who they know can literally pop your fucking head and end you just by looking at you spared them, and they was still around the place making out to be the biggest threat. Whole time they working with the likes of like Mallory, who keeps Soldier Boy in the tuck as a weapon of mass destruction. The sheer volume of people that have died in the pathway of the boys' agenda, but then gonna act holier than thou with Newman will never not annoy me. The one thing I hate is that in season 4, for no logical reason, the show turns Newman into a bitch who suddenly forgets she can murk by looking at them and blowing up their heads. They turn her into a scared bitch who feels she needs to cower in fear and call like Huey for help, only to end up brutally murdered by Butch's bitch ass in front of her daughter. It made no sense, dog. They have my girl looking weak and scared like she ain't powerful, cowering in fear behind the likes of Huey, dog. Pour one out for my bitch Newman, okay?
I really miss my nigga. I really miss my nigga. White people you can sing it to, just change that into a W. Miss my wigger.
And last but not least, at number 1, we have A-Train. Yes! Yes! You heard what I said. Fight your mom. Shoot me with your big gun. A-Train is my mother. Y'all cannot turn me against him. I'm so sorry. A-Train is just trying to make it, okay? He be doing his best. Oh my God. The Boys is an on-the-nose satire. So of course the powers of A-Train, the superhero, is that of being a super athlete. So he's the fastest in the world. And A-Train, like a real has actual problems and issues that would arise without the 7, like debt. My man was a poor kid from Chicago. Family clearly pumped him full of compound V. He trained with his brother to become the fastest in the world to make the 7, thinking that would be the greatest opportunity in the world, only to end up in a white supremacist organization that does not allow him to help or save a single soul, makes him murder whomever they want, and will murder him if he tries to quit or in any way rock the boat. A-Train can't so much as mutter under his breath when Homelander calls him a fat piece of shit without Homelander threatening to kill him. A-Train gets put through the ring on this show, and he's always getting talked to and about like he has any power to stop any of the serious shit that's happening around him. Because the show starts out with A-Train accidentally running through Huey's girlfriend Robin and not giving a we're set up to see A-Train like a bad guy, especially since everyone is constantly trying to make him feel this way. Stay playing on A-Train's guilt to make him feel like the worst alive, which is ironic because it's proof that he's not the awful person they think he is, because A-Train spends all his time feeling shitty about everything he's done. A-Train is pretty much in a state of depression just about the entire series. When he kills Robin, it's an accident because he's taking Compound V like a steroid to help him run faster because he feels himself getting pushed out of the 7, which is his only lifeline. But that mistake sets off a chain of events that sends my life down a spiral. Because he killed Robin, the boys hunt down A-Train's girlfriend Popclaw and end up blackmailing her into telling them about the Compound V, which eventually makes its way back to Homelander, and Homelander makes A-Train kill his girlfriend he was with for years. And it's sad because unlike Huey, this A-Train really did love his gal. We never see A-Train with or even thinking about another woman for the rest of the series. And even though A-Train was initially gonna send Huey and them to meet God for that, he eventually ends up being someone who saves them and helps them out on multiple occasions. A-Train is probably the only reason Marvin ain't died of that heart attack if we keep it a buck. It's A-Train who got him to the hospital. A-Train be wrestling so much with the guilt of the wicked shit they make him do in the 7 and how powerless and shitty he feels versus how shitty the people around him make him feel because they think he's far more powerful than he is and that he should do more with his power. But they have no idea how the 7 and VAR operates, how little power this has, and how much danger this be in. And he can't tell them that. So there's always this disconnect when him and his brother talk. And that disconnect leads to his brother making him feel guilty about not doing anything about this racist superhero named Blue Hawk who be brutalized in their black community. So A-Train takes it to Homelander that he wants Blue Hawk taken off patrol in that neighborhood. But Homelander is a white supremacist and doesn't want to upset the base that he and Blue Hawk shared, so he says no. But eventually, they let A-Train demand a public apology from Blue Hawk to the community residents. But of course, this goes terribly wrong, and this racist bitch starts brutalizing the entire room, in the process paralyzing A-Train's brother, who then decides A-Train is to blame and that he hates him. And despite the fact that at this point A-Train has a weak heart and can't run anymore as a result of a heart attack he had from taking Compound V like a drug, he decides he's gonna pack Blue Hawk the up, as he should.
We gotta talk.
Jesus Christ, not right now. There's a psycho back there. You hurt a lot of people. You hurt my brother. I couldn't get away.
And even still, the show had his brother acting like he was mad that A-Train killed this revenge. Huh? They had the brother being like, this isn't justice. I wanted him to be criminally charged and convicted. Like, please give me a break, dog. Real are not complaining that a mother routinely brutalizes and kills and gets killed. Real are not fighting to go through the legal system instead. That hogwash was ridiculous, but whatever. I know it's a satire. There's an intention behind that. My point is, though, that A-Train stay trying to make amends, questioning how to do better, trying to navigate a system and a job he needs, but is killing his humanity. He is literally the black puppet in a racist organization that makes a mockery of him, and there's not much that he could do about it. And sometimes the way he tries to address it be a miss, like his Africanified costume, but the be trying, and I love him, okay? Shout out to Jesse T. Usher for doing his big one as A-Train. And the honorable mentions for this video are Becca Butcher, because she's a nice lady who we ain't never seen do anything but try to raise and protect her son. But I judge her heavy for loving and marrying Butcher, so that alone was enough to prevent her from making my best characters list. Man, you suspect don't care about your child for old time's sake is one thing. But after Butcher called her child a soup freak to her face, she really should have dared any residual romantic feeling she had for him. That's your child, ma'am. Stand up. And I know folks want my thoughts on Sister Sage, but I can't right now because all that we've seen in the show would warrant people with less insight to put on the bad characters list. But I have enough sense to know that if the smartest person on earth is a black woman, there's no way under the sun she's truly working in Homelander and white supremacy's best interest. So I know that everything that's unfolded is a part of a larger master plan, and I am going to give my girl the chance to execute it before I rank or discuss her in depth. I have faith that she a real anyway. That's it for the video. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Y'all should subscribe to the Patreon. I put, for the people who want to hear me doing all my cursing, we put the uncensored versions of every recap on the Patreon. So do that.